Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. Today, we're taking a raw psychological deep dive into the internal battlefield of the human mind. We're going to break down the philosophy of a guy who literally redefined the very limits of human endurance, David Goggins. But look, we aren't just going to list off his crazy physical achievements. Instead, we're forensically examining his mental framework. We're exploring how true mental toughness is actually built, brick by grueling brick. So buckle up, because this is absolutely going to challenge what you think you're capable of. Okay, let's dive right into this. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Sounds pretty simple, right? But just think about the reality of our modern lives for a second. We're constantly surrounded by technology, phones, computers, endless distractions. But when you hit those truly dark moments, depression, grief, just absolute exhaustion, you can't exactly Google a solution. When the tech fails and you're completely alone, you've got 24 hours in a day where you are locked inside your own head. And trust me, your brain will start talking to you. It's going to try to pull you into comfortable little pockets to protect you. If you don't take charge, if you don't actively tell your brain exactly where you want to go and how you're going to get there, it will control you. And man, if it controls you, it's over. Section 1. Escaping the rock bottom. I really want you to let this number sink in. 297. To figure out how to take back control, we've got to stare directly into the abyss of Goggins' starting line. We need to highlight the massive, almost unbelievable gap between what we perceive our limits to be and what our actual untapped potential looks like. This number right here, this wasn't some crazy weightlifting goal. This was David Goggins at his absolute lowest point. He weighed 297 pounds. He was working the graveyard shift for Ecolab, literally spraying for cockroaches, and bringing home just $1,000 a month. He describes himself back then as a scared kid, who was, in his own words, fat as hell. The visceral shock of this starting point is so crucial for us to understand today. He had zero foundation for greatness, literally none. And that brings us to a frankly terrifying realization. When looking back at that 297-pound exterminator, Goggins admits, "I thought that was me at my 100% potential." Just think about how scary that is for a second. He honestly believed he was trying his hardest. He thought that was the absolute ceiling of his life. And this is the baseline problem for so many of us. We genuinely believe we are completely maxed out, giving 100% effort, when in reality, we aren't anywhere near our true capacity. We just haven't learned how to demand more from the machine yet. Section 2. The power of repetition. So the crucial point is, how do you actually break through that false ceiling? Well, to get into the military, Goggins had to pass some serious tests, but he struggled heavily with reading comprehension and swimming. And he didn't have some magic talent to rely on. Instead, he engineered an exact, brutal mechanism to overcome those profound deficiencies. This became his exact formula. Step 1. Try and fail. He'd read a paragraph and just not comprehend a single word. Or he'd get in the pool and immediately sink like a stone because he was negatively buoyant. Step 2, go back again. And step 3, repeat until the mind submits. He didn't just casually try reading again. He started writing out every single word. And if you didn't get it, he wrote it out again, and again, and again. In the water, it was the exact same frantic, relentless loop. Go back, go back, go back. He essentially turned what felt like desperate, chaotic effort into a clear, replicable system of sheer repetition until the goal was achieved. Now, the secret sauce to all that repetition is actually pretty simple. I gave myself no way out. See, your mind is incredibly smart. It absolutely knows when you're bluffing. If you're just trying hard, but you leave a little back door open for yourself to quit, your brain knows you're full of it. But by entirely removing any escape route, your mind suddenly looks around the room and realizes, okay, he's not going to stop. We literally have to adapt and overcome. It just proves that real effort, the kind that fundamentally reshapes your brain, is entirely different from just casually trying hard. Section 3. Embracing the new normal. Goggins tells this crazy story about growing up in a place that cost just $7 a month. At the time, he actually loved it because it was his normal. When they finally moved to a $236 a month place, he never wanted to go back. But he realized a really profound truth. If you go back to that $7 place and you just sit there and tell your brain, hey, this is where we live now, your mind will eventually say, Roger that, this is home. He applied this exact baseline shift to Navy SEAL training, and this brilliantly illustrates the contrast we need to understand. Look at the old normal, standard human nature. We seek comfort. When our bodies break down, we stop and we heal. But the new normal? Suffering every single day. Waking up at 3 a.m. to duct tape broken feet, running on stress fractures and shin splints. He basically put his suit and tie on every day to go to work, and his job was suffering. He made misery his accepted permanent reality. He told his mind, if we aren't broken, something is wrong. We operate broken. And incredibly, his mind adapted to the new standard. To really put that suffering into perspective, consider the number 18. The standard Navy SEAL training pipeline is 6 months long. Goggins was there for 18 months. Because of his injuries, he endured 3 grueling hell weeks in a single year. Literally, nobody does that. But he did it because he had successfully convinced his mind that being in hell was just his new address. He literally said, I became the devil because that was hell. He took total, complete ownership of his suffering. Section 4. The fight or flight charge. Okay, now we're getting into the actual biological and psychological fuel source. Like, how on earth do you physically operate when you're at a severe disadvantage against perfectly healthy elite peers and your body is literally falling apart? Well, the answer lies in the sympathetic nervous system. This is our body's rapid response to dangerous situations, the classic fight or flight charge. Normally, when you're in agonizing pain, your body screams at you to choose flight. Run away, stop the pain, survive. But Goggins weaponized this physiological response. By absolutely refusing to flee, he forced that intense, primal surge of energy to fuel the fight. He tapped into this ancient biological power reserve to push through the sheer misery of running on shattered shins. I really want you to think about a crucial question right now. Ask yourself, where does the power come from when things suck really, really bad? Imagine being completely alone at 3:30 in the morning. Your feet are literally broken. You're taping them up. You're about to go into the hardest military training in the world alongside completely healthy guys. You are at a massive disadvantage. In that specific, dark, miserable moment, what fuels a person? The answer is incredibly stark. From having nowhere else to go. The power doesn't come from feeling great. It comes from acknowledging, man, I am broken, but I'm still here, I'm fighting, and I'm going to find a way to get through this because I literally have no other place to go. When you completely remove all options for retreat and you fully accept the absolute worst-case scenario, you actually unlock this profound feeling of invincibility. Section 5. Peace through extreme accountability. Let's move to and see how this all builds to the ultimate resolution. What actually happens when the initial motivation runs out? Because in the middle of absolute suffering, superficial anger simply burns off. If your motivation is just to prove your haters wrong, or you're holding on to anger at your past, your brain will override that the second the pain gets too high. Your brain is just going to say, forget the haters, this hurts right now, we need to quit. Goggins explains this with an absolutely brilliant analogy. He says, it has to be down to that nice mineral soil where nothing can burn. You can't burn dirt. Temporary anger is like dry brush. It burns up super fast in the fires of true suffering. To survive, you have to dig down deep to the unburnable core of your soul. You have to be driven by something so fundamental, so deeply tied to who you actually want to be as a human being that no amount of pain can scorch it away. And that leads us to a pretty counterintuitive conclusion, the truth about true peace. You know, so many people want to find peace first before they do the hard work. And hey, if you can do that, great. But for the rest of us, peace isn't found by seeking comfort. Peace is found on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It requires walking through trials, tribulations, and deep suffering. It demands extreme daily accountability, looking at yourself in the mirror every single day and ensuring you are doing right by yourself and the people next to you. It is a miserable, hard, grueling process to be that accountable, but it's the only real way to build a foundation of true self-respect. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought today. Look at your life honestly. Are you actually trying hard, or are you just seeking comfort? Remember that 297-pound man who thought he was at his 100% potential? What is your current baseline? Are you leaving a back door open for yourself to quit when things get uncomfortable? True mental resilience isn't some magic gift. It's a daily, brutal choice to embrace the struggle until you find that unburnable mineral soil within yourself. Take a hard look at your own life today and ask yourself if it's finally time to create a new normal. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep pushing those limits, and I'll catch you on the next one.